Welcome back to Lucas Hype and Bronzo My. It's a special day. If you guys haven't checked our Instagram, please do. If you're in our Discord, check it out there. We have a pretty awesome inaugural announcement, partnership update for you guys in the Discord. Check it out.
This is Andrew's baby. I gotta tell you, Monday's our brain dump episode kind of stuff, but I'll give you your kudos. We obviously have worked with, different grading companies, different partners throughout the tenure of this program, and I hope that people would agree when I say we try not to be shills for the partner. We try not to just go out there and say, all right, this guy's the best, these are the best. We try to be as honest with you as we can, and work with these, especially for grading companies, auction partners, and say, okay, you know what, this auction has some great stuff. By the way, I also noticed this auction over here has some great stuff, and same thing with card grading. I think we've done a good enough job of hey, look, if you're grading this type of baseball vintage, it might be good in this lab. If you're grading TCG, it might be good in this lab. I think we've tried to kind of, balance it out, but we do, when we partner with folks, we do try to give back to the community overall. But, we did do an NFT, and while the rest of the NFT world, from doodles to whatever the heck else, is sinking and crumbling around, we did this as, I would call it similar to, like a membership club. I mean, it's one of these things where people who wanted to buy and show support did. And, we still take it very, very seriously. And when we partner with, with businesses, with brands, one of the things that Andrew came up with last year with SGC, when we were partnered with SGC, a great partner, right? We still have cards with SGC. We still have people who never graded with SGC, who graded with SGC for the first time as part of our, promotions with SGC, and they still grade with SGC. But one of the ideas Andrew came up with was this free grading, and basically said to, our partners, hey, we want to be able to work with you, and we want our people to, to get a taste of the offerings you have and get a taste of what you bring to the table from a customer service standpoint, from a grading standpoint. And a lot of our listeners had never, dealt with you guys before. And SGC gave free grading. So one of the things we did with our Tiger NFTs last year was people got as many as 5 free grades with SGC. I mean, for some, that paid for the entire cost of the NFT right there. We partnered with Dibs. And people who had more than one NFT got a PayPal payment. We basically just passed the entire Dibs sponsorship there back to NFT holders. This year we partnered with Beckett. And in partnership with Beckett, our Tiger holders are getting a gift certificate to use on Beckett grading. I've sent out 35 of them already in the first 12 hours of the promotion. And so if you're listening to this and you are a Tiger owner and you have not yet filled out the form, please look for it in our Discord, also in the Luca Nation Instagram link tree. It's right there. Click on the profile. The link right to the form is right there. And, just fill out the form. I think it's 3 questions. And we'll send you the certificate for Beckett grading.
And your idea, man. On to the irregularly scheduled programming. So why I smiled when you said shill a few minutes ago is I actually had 2 topics today. One was called Clay, and topic 2 was called, is everybody a pumper? Is even in the most logical concepts, it still feels shilly. And I was listening to Rao, Paul, and Mr. Pompolanio, they both are Bitcoin, maximalist, crypto digital maximalists. And I'm like, so am I. I believe very much in Bitcoin the next 6 to 18 months. But even I'm who is on their side, I'm like, they're just selling me their philosophy.
Correct. And their bags.
And then I look at the comments on the episode with Deep Value Investor and DPZ, and I got to give a shout out to DPZ. I would say DPZ, Dennis Patrick Zender, music career in the past, but he's as good of a host, as good of an interviewer as anyone in the hobbies. He brings out pieces or insights from the audience, from their guests. It was a topic about vintage, and vintage collectors came out to protect their bags, so to speak. And I'm like, man, everybody's got an agenda, no matter how pure it is.
Sure. Is that a question, or is this is an observation you've made in the hobby over the last couple of years?
Well, I ask questions in statement form. I learn from the best.
That's it. That's the best way to do it.
5
That
minutes.
Way
That's another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and
arguments.
Bronze.
So is your thought that people shouldn't do that? People should be more altruistic? Is it a hobby specific thing, or is it life in general? Obviously, you talked about Bitcoin.
Twofold. So as the listener, I think it's very important to understand that every speaker, podcast, or author has an agenda. Now it's for you to decide if that's a bias or unbiased, because sometimes it's an unbiased agenda. They might not. And secondarily, for me, it's like I crave knowledge. I want to learn. I want to understand. It makes the filtration process a little bit more challenging.
It's interesting. So don't think, just write. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it. You ready?
Do less. You don't do much. Do less.
Kunu. Ready, Kunu? Who should win the MVP this year in the NBA? Go.
Giannis. But that's not fair, because that's not thinking. That's not accurate. Like Giannis came to my mind, but I think Embiid is who. What happened with the MVP cage, what was so challenging is if you just go back 4 weeks, 6 weeks, it was half the season. And Embiid and Giannis were both kind of in and out of the lineup, and Jokic was the runaway favorite. Denver was first in the West. He was averaging a triple-double. He was so far away. But you remember you told me about Secretariat. Cage called me one time. He said, guys, Secretariat, not every horse can run in the lead. Some horses –
Seabiscuit.
Go ahead. Seabiscuit. That's why I couldn't find the movie.
Secretariat is a movie too. It's a movie too, but different.
But it was
Secretariat's a great horse.
So Seabiscuit, the jockeys would actually, manipulate it to fall behind so that it could chase.
Let the other horse catch you. This way you have a challenge. Let him, like if you get out ahead, you got to slow him down, let him pull nose to nose, see the competition, see who you're running up against, and you let him look him in the eyes, there's no way he's going to lose. That was Seabiscuit against War Admiral, I think.
So let's think about it. What happened? Nuggets have looked pretty inferior this last 30 days. They had like a 4-game losing streak. They lost to some bad teams, while at the same time, Sixers had like a 9-game winning streak. The Bucks went like a 19-1 in a 20-game stretch. So the narrative changed in like pre-post All-Star break. Everything changed. And right now, Sixers are in second place. They're ahead of the Celtics. Who would have thought that? So I think it's Embiid because Brook Lopez is going to get Defensive Player of the Year. I would argue Drew Holiday is the best perimeter defender in the league. And Bobby Portis might be 6th man of the year. So it's hard to give MVP when you have so much talent around you.
Listen, I love it. You kind of almost got to give it to Embiid because he was damn close last year, and Jokic and Giannis have already won it. So you know what? You got those three, and you might as well give it to Embiid and share alike. But why I asked, I really could care less about the analysis. You didn't say Jokic. I was waiting for you when I said MVP to say it's Jokic because he's averaging triple-double, he's awesome, the whole deal, and then laugh at you for pumping your backs and having an agenda and being a Bitcoin maxi and saying, so good for you. You were able to separate your own bag, your own investment, your own I'm going to go bags again, from really doing analysis. And that's a fun thing. And it's not something that everybody can do. Right. I personally, if asked who the MVP in the league, I can make an argument for Devontae Graham right now. And I would mean it. I'd mean it because I have Devontae Graham cards and I want them to go up. Obviously, I'm kidding. But it's back to your original point, right? Do you have to always take everything with a grain of salt? You have to dig a little deeper and find whether or not somebody is telling you something because they own 500 Bitcoins?
You remember the line from Wolf of Wall Street where it was like, there's no nobility in poverty?
Yes.
I would actually say, like you said, good for you that I didn't pump Jokic. But maybe the real crux of it in today's day and age, in the digital day and age of like these camps of I believe in this, maybe you should get long and get loud. Maybe what you need to do is to find something that you believe in and then sell it to the market, because if you don't have that confidence, if you don't sell it, how will it ever work? Because the people that are winning financially online, it seems, I could be wrong, are the people that get long and loud, as Mark Cuban would say.
I mean, I think that's probably just the louder minority, right? I think from a collecting standpoint, most people who collect cards, they're quiet about what they're collecting. You know, the people who were here before this most recent run-up, they're quiet about what they own until they, reveal it and show everybody. They don't want other people buying what they want. They don't want competition for it. And they're buying stuff that's so rare that at least the thought is that they're not buying liquid items that they can pump. Like Bitcoin is pretty damn liquid. Giannis silver is a liquid thing that you can just pump. Devin Booker rookie cards, Kevin Durant rookie cards, LeBron James Chrome rookie card, right? De'Aaron Fox Prism rookie card. These are all things where hypothetically somebody could pump those because they're liquid, because they're just, you trade it over and over again. I think collectors, they don't even get involved in this stuff. I say collectors, but just people who have been here for a minute.
Paper. Am I playing
the game? You're playing the game. You're playing the game gorgeously. It's a beautiful game. You were coached into playing this game by Pep Guardiola. I mean, you're playing it so damn well. So I mean, listen, you get the point. The point is, people want to buy this rare cards that just don't come up for sale, and the next time it comes up for sale, it's 6 or 7 years from now. The price will take care of itself, and those people are not looking at what it cost, to get back into that card in a month or 2 months. They're not looking to flip it now because it went up a little bit, and I'll buy back in, when it comes down a little. It's a different game, and there's nothing wrong with either side of it. Nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing wrong, What I've learned in 945 episodes and countless shows and just conversations we have with a bunch of people, I've learned 2 things. One, you're never going to make everybody happy. Doesn't mean you don't try, but you're never going to make everybody happy. But number 2, really, what gets a collector going is a very personal thing to them. Some people are in this hobby as, I'm going to call it almost a gambling replacement. Almost like the adrenaline junkie portion of the hobby, right? I mean, no, I'm not jumping out of a plane. I'm not parachuting, but some people love almost the art of the deal. Dare I say that, right? I'm going to go to a show or I'm going to buy something online and I'm going to use my negotiation tactics, my skills, you name it. And I'm going to find a deal at 60% comps. And then I'm going to run that card over to the next show next week and sell it at 80% comps. Still get, out cash, you name it, and make some money and do it over and over again. The hustle.
Can I tell you from me?
Shoot.
So I used to do this. So these are my favorite types of sports bets. It would be, let's say you think that the Chiefs are going to beat the Bucks. Chiefs are plus 200. Take the Chiefs, right? Before the game starts, you put $1,000 on them. Chiefs plus 200. At halftime, Chiefs are winning 21-7. And you could now take the Bucks plus 200.
Yeah.
And you could middle and make money on either side, regardless of the result. I just did that with the Jokic. So I bought a Jokic silver PSA 10. The 10 ran from 2,500 to 3,500, just ended. But I got the silver BGS 9.5 for $1,000. So I'm going to sell the 10 and have a free $1,000. Same exact. Yeah. That for me is a greater high than buying that Mahomes, sweating it throughout the entire season, and selling it for more after.
Remember on Whatnot where I didn't know if the Giants or the Vikings would win, but I knew given those 2 teams, every game was decided by one possession, that it was going to be a one-possession game. So we did a same game tease where we took each of them getting more points than one score. We teased the Vikings. No, it was Giants Vikings. It might have been the first playoff game, or it was towards the end of the year, or whatever it was. But it was definitely those 2 teams, and we played both sides of it. That it was going to be the Vikings would
plus
get 7, and the Giants would get 7 because it was one of these close games, and it was. It ended up being a close game, and both sides of the equation won. It was pretty crazy. So I know exactly what you're saying. That's a little different than the rush that some of these folks are looking for. You're still making your bet. Your play only works if the original card you buy runs that $1,000 and allows you to basically cash out and get that free card. But
there's someone I admire that I admire how they do business, and maybe this is the same. Remember Coleman Cards? Have you seen him at shows?
Yeah.
Like he sets up like a laptop. He has like Post-it notes. He looks up every card. He posted notes on the card. He says you could walk around the show and say, you have a fair offer for $1,300. right? And he says, I'll buy this lot off of you for $5,000. And he knows that he could probably liquidate it for $6,500. That is also the art of the deal. That is a bit of a gamble you're taking on risk.
Yeah. But I mean, the dealers have the ability to do that, right? The dealers have more deal flow, more people coming to them than you or I who have a stack of cards. So that's part of the business. You know what I mean? Like us taking $5,000 from a dealer like Coleman or somebody else, that's $5,000 for you. You don't have to hustle. You don't have to piece out these deals. It's the same as like buying a company and breaking it up. Somebody's got to do the work of breaking the company up, and selling off the parts. That's what the dealers do.
Who's going to do the work of buying 16,000 items in the auctions, in the weekly auctions? Who's going to do that work?
Listen, if you are willing to put in a little bit of time, there's some fun. I didn't even look. What did my coin play end at? I went and gave the meltdown value, like how much the gold was worth if you just melted the coin down for gold based on the spot gold price. And it was significantly more than what it was, going for when I did the episode.
The gold collectors are going to come.
It was a 1907. It said 1907 Saint. It's a St. Gaudens. Augusta St. Gaudens designed the obverse and the reverse. Did the little saint on it, did the eagle on it. It was a first year print, MS-64. It's a cool coin. I mean, but I don't even know what it's sold for, but I did get a couple messages of I don't call them hate messages. They're like joke hate. I got messages from people saying, I hate you for identifying the card I was looking at, or for, this one here. I thought
what is it called, Cage? Gold?
You could put 1907 MS-64, 1907, then a space MS-64. And see what it sold for. It was $1,350 when I promoted it. So, but we'll see.
31.20.
Yeah, I mean that's about right. I mean, the spot gold melt price would be about $1,900, almost $2,000. The last couple of coins at Heritage sold for more than that 31, so it's still a good bargain. One of them sold for $4. So but fun stuff. So even things like that, the Griffey card. So many people. There was a really nice Griffey gold 1/1 with like a logo man patch, like an MLB logo patch in it. Not playing days. I think it was a 2020 card, but I think I got 4 messages from people saying, "Oh man, I was hoping to swipe that one. Why? Please don't. I got a couple people making jokes like, here, I got my eyes on this one. Please don't mention it next week. People are trying to preempt me from talking about cards. Like, don't.
I got a lot of good feedback on how you're going about that, by the way. So they call you Professor Cage.
Oh, nice. I like that. I'll take it. You're Coach Goldberg. I can be Professor Cage. I'll take it.
No, you know what's annoying about having you as a co-host?
I forget nothing.
It's even like half-baked ideas. Not the way you guys think about like half-baked ideas, but like
you're fully baked.
Half-baked ideas, because half-baked ideas take an element of trust, right? I have to trust you to be like, you're not going to just destroy me with this. Let's talk about this idea together, right? Before you poke holes in. Even my half-baked ideas, you never let me live them down.
No.
But my beautiful calls, my spot on, my target from, 2,000 yards away, shooter.
Boom. I'm a shooter.
Dust in the wind. Shooter. Kansas, dust in the wind.
Shooter
my
McGavin.
boy, Blue.
Shooter McGavin. Well, I will say this. I do get messages, people telling me I got to go easy on you about the herb. That there are people who listen to us at night. They have their herb. They are smoking their herb and they fall asleep to this show. And then I got to go easy on you with the herb. I have been told this numerous amount of times. There are fans of the herb who are also fans of our show. So I'm just throwing that one out there too. So to the extent that I make you feel bad about your dependency upon drugs, I apologize. Go to rehab. I'm just kidding.
Dude, you didn't even get a chance to talk about this.
My drug caffeine is worse than yours. I know. Here, cheers.
So we all know someone who's dealt with, addiction or, substance abuse, and they've gone to rehab, but they certainly didn't go to rehab for like an hour or like a day.
No.
So I was all for Ja is getting help, but I'm not so sure you could get help in like an in-school suspension.
Segue. That was brilliant. That was a brilliant episode. Wow.
He was there for like a day and a half, and then he checked out.
It's like people who sign up for defensive driving. I know I got 4 texting while driving, and I speed 50 miles an hour over the speed limit, but I took that 2-hour course, so everything's okay now. I sat in, I watched about defensive driving. We're all good. Yeah, I mean, listen, the interesting stuff is the Ja thing. I'm gonna give. There's one silver lining that's gonna come out of this. Gilbert Arenas is relevant again. There's a whole generation of fans of the NBA that didn't even know who Gilbert Arenas was and what a supreme talent he was on the court. And because of Ja and his antics, people have looked up Gilbert Arenas and have found the new appreciation for Agent Zero. There's the best thing to come out of the Ja situation.
Very respected by his peers. Like Kobe, he gave Kobe buckets. He was a tough cover. Very weird style of player, though. Like,
oh yeah,
you think would he work?
I don't think it worked today. No, I knew your question. I don't think it would work today. No, but he was a bucket.
Is he a pioneer for today? Like, because he just kind of did whatever he wanted as a guard.
ISO, a lot of ISO. You know what I mean? Like, would Carmelo Anthony work today? You got to play some defense. You know, can't be a total liability like Trey.
Melo peaked too early, huh?
I liked Melo. Melo was one of those guys where, you know, he went to the Knicks. You know, you want to call it a super team. He won a championship
as the best player.
Yep, he won
as a freshman
with Syracuse. You know, came out that year, freshman, right? You know, when LeBron was coming out. I mean, just really highly touted prospect.
Better stats than LeBron. For all you guys stacked junkies. Rookie year, his stats were better than LeBron.
Yeah, well, I mean, that extra year does matter. LeBron was coming out of high school, and, you know, Carmelo played competitive ball at the college level, you know, all the way through, won a championship. So, you know,
Melo truthers would say he was robbed for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, people would say that. I mean, listen, so here's the thing with Carmelo. He did team up with Amari Stoudemire on a Knicks, right? That was a, you know, you call it like sort of like a, I don't want to call it a super team. He's a guy who I think we'd look at his career a little differently if he was, you know, partnered with Wade and Bosch for a championship run one year. You know, he never got the ring. I'm not calling him LeBron. LeBron won 4. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying he's now going to retire as an all-time scorer. I mean, just a walking bucket, as the kids like to say, but with no ring. And, you know, I think his cards, you know, his collectibles, that kind of thing, he'd be looked at a little differently had he won.
There's also do you know if this is in people's heads, like that style doesn't win is also kind of what people start thinking when they don't win. Like, I wonder if Dame's ever going to have that on his rep, you know, that style won't win.
So people have played that style and won a chip at the end as like a 1B or a 2 or even a 3 option. Like, even if he would have put his, like, look, he joined LeBron in the Lakers. Like, what if he was on the LeBron bubble Lakers? Even though the people don't give that championship, you know, as much credit because it's a bubble championship, even that alone, like, either in the NBA, which is more of a star league than any other league out there, you have basically 2 categories of players. You have the greats who won and the greats who didn't. It's just kind of the way it is in the NBA. And Carmelo Anthony is always going to be one of the greats that never won, like Patrick Ewing.
Does Dillon Brooks bother you?
No, because it's all a show. You know, he's just doing his thing. There are plenty of shit talkers in the NBA and in every sport that just do their thing and try to get on people's nerves. And, you know, Clay had a pretty crappy game, right? You know, and Clay doesn't play well against him. Now, of course, when the playoffs turn around, if they're matched up, Clay's going to drop 70 on Dillon Brooks. But, you know, when they play and Dillon Brooks wins and Clay holds up the 4, okay, we know you have 4 championships, but that night the shit talking worked. So I don't have an issue with it. If it's getting to people, go ahead. I know you hate him, so I had to say I don't.
There is 2 different types of shit talk, and it's most people, or it's hard to delineate because shit talk on the court is one thing, but respect off the court is another thing.
Okay, and he definitely doesn't have respect off the court. People don't respect him. I saw a tweet the other day. Did you see
Dillon Brooks or Clay?
Dillon Brooks.
Right.
People respect
what I'm saying is, so Dillon Brooks could go after anybody he wants.
Yeah.
But to go after the exact carbon copy replica image of what you would love your career to be, because to me, they're identical. not players, but that's the role that Dillon Brooks 3 and D.
What you're saying,
right? Morale, like that should be the guy you aspire to be, and yet you're coming after him. And Clay doesn't care about anybody; he just plays. Like,
yeah, listen, I get it. It's just sometimes the have-nots go after the haves. I do it myself from time to time. I'm guilty of it, and sometimes it's not done in the most artful way, you know. But Dillon Brooks is not working out for him well. I mean, there was a tweet that he knocked over a cameraman in the Heat game. And the cameraman, I think it was a Heat game, and I think the guy's pretty badly injured. So I don't want. This is not a joke. I'm not making a joke about it. But I see the tweets are, here's video of Dillon Brooks pushing the cameraman, and so he's still hurt. The cameraman's still in the hospital, and it's the middle of a game. Brooks is like diving for a ball, and tries to break his fall with this guy. It wasn't malicious. Like the way the tweet went, you would think it was like after the game, he like pushed him, get out of my face. Like he was it was almost like a cameraman came up to him after the Culture Collision, basketball game, and you're like, get out of my face. It was like one of those, like, you know what I'm talking about, of course. So, but
I would be so bad at media, man. I got to tell you, like, this is stand-up there. I'm so bad at it.
No, you're not. Listen, you're fun. It's like the Howard Stern stuff, right? Why do people listen? They want to hear what he's going to say next. You're smiling a lot today. That's good. A couple of comments we got about how you used to smile a lot more. People want to see you smile, having fun in the hobby, having fun making content. So it's good.
You guys don't realize, like, I'm a pretty private dude. You guys judge me way too much in the sense of, like, my mood's up and down, like, all that shit. Like, I don't even know how to tell you. Like, mind your own business. That's all. Just mind your business.
No,
mind your business.
You can't say mind your business. We come in here every day. You can't come into people's living rooms every day, give them content, tell them about what's going on in our lives, and then say mind your business. You, especially, cannot give a story about the drug-sniffing dogs in the Atlanta airport and leave people with mind your business after that. People want to know what's going on in your life. That story alone, that was Culture Collision. It started off bad and just kind of went like one of these. Well, yeah.
You wonder why the Warriors can't win on the road.
Yeah, they can't bring that stuff. That was a funny, like Michael Vick getting in trouble. Remember for the weed? Who was the comedian? Was it Chappelle? Was it Kevin Hart? I forget who it was. Somebody did
I think he put it behind a water bottle, right?
Somebody did a whole skit like, when you are Michael Vick, you have an entourage, and one guy's job is the dude who brings the weed for Michael Vick. You don't have to carry your own weed. Like, that's someone's job in the entourage. The dude who carries the weed.
Marcus was already in jail.
Well, I mean, listen, it is what it is. So we have that. A couple fun things, right? So Mint coming up. You excited about this? You are going to Vegas nice and early.
Yeah. That's the part I'm excited about. Don't come up to me. Don't try to talk to me. Don't try to take photos with me. It's not going to happen. But I am getting there early. I'm very excited about that. March Madness.
Once basketball doesn't play again, I mean, I think they'll already be down to the Elite Eight by the time they're out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's not games until the following week, right?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? I'm assuming.
Right. So if you're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what are you going to be betting?
You're saying don't lose my money before then?
Yeah, I'm curious what
you guys agree with this. You guys that betting in a sports book versus betting online is such a different, like, it takes you a little bit to get warmed up and into the game.
Okay, you're out there on Monday. Oh, you're gonna be betting some NBA stuff.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, like, now. NBA is very trend driven, so like teams that they'll cover for a little while, and I'm riding with OKC. I've been talking about OKC. I love this OKC team. I love how they compete. So I'm looking at some games because I love when my bet and the motivation of the team are aligned, right? And it's clear that this OKC team is rolling. They're motivated.
All right. Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited for Mint. I know we're doing a podcast. Don't exactly know what we're doing there for the podcast. So if anybody has any ideas, feel free to email Andrew about those ideas. He loves getting your emails. We're going to be doing a podcast there on Friday. We're going to hang out with the Sports Card Nonsense guys. I think they're doing a podcast too. I don't know if we have space at the show itself. If not, we'll be squatting in somebody else's space because that's how I roll. I was on Sports Card Nonsense today. That was a fun back and forth.
Right.
There was a little episode recorded earlier today. So that was fun. I like those guys. They're fun.
Are they in the studio?
They were in a studio, yeah. I come in, like a Zoom add-in, and I I used some 4-letter words that I think they're gonna have to edit out, but it is what it is. You know, I mean, you guys will have to tune in.
When is it airing?
Wow, that's a big
When
end.
is it airing?
I have no idea. I think they do Mondays and Thursdays, so I don't know if they edit it and put it up on Thursday. Maybe I don't know exactly when, but I think they do like Monday, Thursday episodes. So I'll have to check, but I don't want to speak for them because don't go rush to play the most recent episode if it's not up yet. It's not gonna be me. You can be disappointed to hear anybody on there other than me. I know how we are. Let's see. What about Mint? I'm gonna be bringing some cards to Mint. I'm excited about Mint. I got my OKC night moves. Jalen Williams. I'll bring that one. That's a cool card. Maybe I'll give that to you. Making some night moves.
I like Jalen Williams. You know that. Who's your coach of the year?
Tom
that to me is
Thibodeau.
my favorite.
What? Don't ask me a question. I'm not going to give.
Why?
It's funny. The Knicks.
He smiles as much as I do, by the way.
Yes, he does. The Knicks. I really want the Knicks to be relevant. I really do, because New York, when the Knicks are winning, there's a different energy. There's a different. It's different. I think the NBA is better than the Knicks winning. It's been a long
the word
time.
You're looking for. It's arrogant, more arrogant than it normally is.
What, the Knicks?
When the Knicks are winning, New York is arrogant.
The New York hasn't really had an opportunity to be arrogant about anything in quite some time from the sports perspective. I mean, the Yankees they've been good, but they haven't even, they haven't won since 2009. The Knicks haven't won in my lifetime. They haven't won. I think 1972 was the last time the Knicks won a championship. The entire time the Knicks haven't won a ring in, I think it's 50 years.
Because the Knicks are Madison Square Garden. For you guys don't know, that's literally the center of the city. And I guess Yanks, but did the Giants? Is that nothing for you guys? Because they're
the Giants, but even them. I mean, the Giants. They won. They won a couple with Eli. They were little sneaky teams. I think both times, neither time were did anybody really expect them to win. But the Giants, that's true. The Giants definitely. That's you're
Rangers.
Right? I mean, the Rangers are good this year, but I think the last time the Rangers won was 94.
Wow.
And the Knicks were in the finals that year. That was a good sports year. Knicks didn't win. Elijah won, but it is what it is. But no, I mean that team. What's funny is that team can go either way. They can be looked at as a disappointment if they don't get out of the first round. It looks like the seeding. I know you don't look this far down the charts. If it's Jokic, Embiid,
the seeding matters more than anything.
But you haven't looked. I think that almost locked in. I think the Knicks will probably be playing the Cavs. I think the East is not like the West where there's so much, going on there. I think it looks like it's Knicks Cavs, kind of. You can take a look at the standings.
The matchups, I think, are one of the most important things in the NBA because styles make fights.
Well, I don't mean that. I just mean right now you can't predict who is going to be matched up in the West because they're so bunched together. But it's not that way in the East. Like the Knicks are not going to win enough to catch the Celtics or the Sixers or the Bucks, that middle there. I think it's probably going to be them and the Cavs. You know what I'm saying? The matchup.
They're 7 games away from the Celtics, which they're not going to catch them.
Yeah,
and they would need to fall 2.5 games to the Nets.
Right.
So it's right now. It's Celtics are in third. Celtics, Nets, Cavs, Knicks.
So it looks like it's Cavs, Knicks right now, and unless that changes, fine. But it's funny because the Knicks team is, not that far off of, remember, they played against the Hawks and, this is a decent team, but it's almost one of those things where they've played so well. They're not going to, but they could win 50 games this year. If they really closed it out with a run here, they could win 50 games. Not going to happen, but there are two camps, right? It's enough that they built on this, especially the way they started, right? Jalen Brunson didn't look like, who knew what he looked like a legit star now. Jalen Brunson's playing a legit star. And Randall, after his last year hiccup, looks like the all-NBA player that was out there. And Thibs is getting the most out of his rotation, getting the most out of his lineup. He's playing the right people. They're playing well. I mean, a lot of people, though, are saying you need them to win a series here for it to matter.
Josh Hart is such an interesting pickup.
Hart, too.
For all of you guys advanced analytics. He wouldn't even show up anywhere, but since he's come over, this team has been unstoppable. And part of the reason is he just grabs all of these loose ball offensive rebounds to give their bully ball another shot. And dude, IQ's probably actually he's also in 6th man of the year conversation. Yes. He's very good. He's coming along really, really well.
So I'm interested to see that, Is he really the coach of the year? Probably not. But it'd be, I mean, he's done a lot with a team that, was broken last year and added some pieces to it. He's really combined. I mean, you look at the teams that are winning, right? The Nuggets out west, they just, they finally got some of their healthy pieces back, and you have the MVP out there. The coach is working with the pieces they have with Murray and MPJ and Jokic, and they've got a great team. Am I to say Coach Butthold? I mean, he has Giannis, who's the best player in the league year over year, with the best defender in the league this year, the best perimeter defender in Jrue Holiday. I mean, that's a talented team he's putting together there, and they've been playing together for years.
The Sixers drafted Jrue Holiday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They missed on so many.
Sixers, am I saying Doc Rivers is the coach of the year? I mean, look at the talent there. I mean, obviously with that talent, they haven't put it together yet, but I mean, it's the same kind of thing. I give more credit to a coach that's able to, squeeze more out of a lineup that wasn't in place. You didn't know who was going to be the starting five, what you were going to get out of it, and, and piece a lineup together.
By that standard,
that's why I said dibs.
Thunder? Mike?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Thunder.
The Thunder, I can't say the Thunder because the Knicks are competing for a home field, home court first round playoff series. The Thunder might not even make the playoffs. I know you think they are. I know, but still, that's play-in, right? So there's a big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, what if they get sixth?
All right. I mean, look, if that Thunder team moves up to 6, you got to give them some consideration.
1 game out of 6th.
Yeah, well, because there's so much jumbled. I think between 4 and 10, there's like 3 games. So we've talked about this.
You lose Chet, who you guys know how I feel.
You hate Chet, so.
I mean, do you see his body? Like, dude,
what I want you to do? Give me a five player, all NBA Andrew Hate team. Dillon Brooks, Chet Holmgren, give me the other 3. Who are the other 3 that you hate? Fill out this roster. 3 guys that it could be an irrational hatred. Maybe one of them slept with your sister.
LeBron, obviously.
Okay, LeBron. And the best part about putting LeBron on this team is they're going to always suck because he's not going to make any of them better. Okay, I get it. So you got LeBron, Chet, and Dillon Brooks. Give me 2 more. I mean,
really don't like Harden.
Okay, so you got James Harden. Westbrook. You don't hate Westbrook. You actually think Westbrook is misunderstood. Westbrook is you. Shows up every day. Misunderstood.
Westbrook.
Any given day can put up a triple doubles or just shoot over the backboard. That's you.
DeAndre Ayton. And not Harden. DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. But really DeAndre Ayton.
By the way, the all Andrew Hate team wins the championship this year. Chris Paul, LeBron James, DeAndre Ayton.
Dude, DeAndre Ayton is the softest big man. 7'1", built. Yeah. Like, oh, man, you have every opportunity. You never get double covered. Go and dunk on some guys. He stands there, just these little, like, floaters. Dude. And then Monty's like, we get no foul calls. You guys don't go to the rim. Like, Giannis out free throwed us. Well, Giannis attacks every single drive. It's either going to be an offensive foul or not, or a defensive foul. It's contact. The Suns, man. Oh man.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
With prices coming down a little bit, and you getting to go to some shows and stuff like that, I'll be honest. Will you be looking to buy any cards for sort of like a PC collection, or is your thought right now? The dust is still settling. Fanatics is coming in. I'm here to make content, talk about what's going on in the hobby, and not really build up a PC. Honest question.
I don't know what you guys mean by PC.
So I'll give you an example. I'll kind of elaborate it a little bit more. There were some Kobe cards that ran. Cool Kobe cards, that ran in price. And you love Kobe. I might look at now as a time to make a Kobe collection of cards, just cool cards to have. Like, remember that Duncan the That's Jam Kobe. Like, you don't have to buy a PSA 10.
I like the 3D. What's the 3D Skybox Premium from '98? It like kind of glistens. I'll pull it up. I did. I just bought a Kobe 50th.
The Chrome lookalike one. You know, the one that's not the chrome, but the 50th 1996 Topps 50.
Yeah, that's not the card I'm talking about now, but I just bought a Kobe 50th. It's at Beckett to be, it was a PSA 9.
Mm-hmm.
I've graded this card like 50 times. I know the nice 9s versus the shitty 9s. This is a nice 9 with really good centering, really nice edges.
But are you
really
buying that to sell it, or are you buying that because you want to keep that card because you like it and you want to hang on to it as a collector?
I secretly would love to see if I could get a BGS 10 because there's none.
Okay.
It's very hard. This one got a 9. It had actually a fingerprint on it. Because you know how that foil, the foil is insane. You have to like literally clean everything off of it. So I don't know. It depends on the grade. If it's a BGS 10 or like a BGS 9.5 with 210 subgrades, I might keep it because that's a really sick copy.
It's funny. I would have thought maybe you'd sell it and then buy a lower grade one piece up.
I might. I don't know until it's like Cage. You got to college. You know, are you gonna get a wifey, or are you gonna build a PC, or are you gonna build a side piece? Like, you don't know. Let me go out and see.
Wait, I'm going to college, and the 3 options I have are getting a wife, building a PC, and getting a side piece.
Yes.
That's what you go to college for?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, well, it depends on the options, right?
I'm with you. I mean,
I'd still love an awesome Mahomes auto. I would love an awesome Mahomes auto.
Next day, that's you.
I love next day.
Next day. Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is there are
really what I'm saying.
But there are I started buying Griffey Jr. cards. Remember the one I showed you? I think I paid $5 for it in the PWCC auction. It was like Sport Flicks, like detonators, and you're like, that's a cool card. And I'm like, it's a PSA 5, but I don't care. Like, I may crack it out of the case and just hold it raw. I didn't even remember that card from when I was collecting, but it's just, there are cards that are coming out now, and you asked, hey, what's going on with like PWCC auction, all these cards. There'll probably be some cool collector cards out there. That card's cool. Look at that 3D.
It's the 3D.
Jordan.
This card, yeah, this is a cool card.
How about
Colin Cowherd's take on Jordan? What an absurd take.
I mean, we are accused of being clickbait every now and again. Don't you think that was clickbait? Don't you think he really means that?
Without Pippen and Jackson, Jordan would be this whole Jordan thing
would be nothing. And how is selling the team for like $3 billion more than he bought it a loss? Like, are you guys fucking crazy?
Because they didn't win. He's the consummate winner, and if everybody's going
to say small market.
Jordan, how could he not take this team to win? I mean, how did he not biff Malik Monk in the head hard enough to make him a winner in this league? Like that.
You kind of like Malik Monk now.
I always liked him. I mean, there's this certain quality about Malik Monk that made me think of you. We started this episode with rehab. We're kind of back to it. Something about Malik Monk. Always shooting.
I love the construction of teams like. When they say the sum of the parts, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts?
Yes.
Malik Monk, if you look at like his distribution of performance, it could be like 40 points, and then next game he'll get you 2, then 3, then 50. You need to be people like that need to be surrounded by consistency. And you bring in Sabonis, and you have this flat, consistent line. And now Malik Monk's it meshes, So it's teams win, man. Players don't.
You know what Sabonis brings to Malik Monk's game?
Chick-fil-A.
Someone in the middle of the lane. So Monk, he'll drive. He'll shoot every single time. And when he played with teams like the Lakers, teams like the Hornets, they didn't have somebody in there. Bismack Biyombo, right? They had nobody. So he was just driving and shooting. Well, he's not doing that as much. There's somebody in his way in his own team. So I watch his game. His game evolved a little bit. He's not this reckless drive to the hoop and throw up a layup every time. What was bad about it for him was the defense knew it was coming. Like, I don't know if you remember when we started doing the podcast, every once in a while I'd have the Hornets game on because I had the thing. And
he was still on the Hornets.
It was on the Hornets. Yeah. And I'm like,
Lakers, then Kings.
Oh, Monk's got the ball. How much would I bet he shoots? he touched the ball, he shoots. If you put it in his hand, he shoots. And a lot of it was because he wasn't getting starting minutes, especially like Graham and Rozier came back healthy, and he was fighting for time. So I guess he thought that he had to go out there and score every time he touched the ball, which some teams need. That team didn't, and it wound up making him a little wild. A lot of offensive fouls. But yeah, I mean, he was a shooter. So.
Mike Brown. I would tell you, I was never a fan of Mike Brown on the Cavs. Mm-hmm. I thought they looked dysfunctional when LeBron was there. I would say he's 1A, and then Dagnall is 1B. What he's done with the Kings team, they're in second place. Earlier in the season, they were saying who's the winner, him or the Pacers or the Kings on that trade. Last thing, you asked me, why are the Warriors not winning on the road? And I gave you all these reasons. But the one reason is if you actually think about what happened. You have Curry, Clay, Draymond, Iggy. Mm-hmm. Older, in their 30s, with families.
Yeah.
So, okay. So but you're on the road. You sort of go out to dinner together. You get to know each other, right? You kind of come together as a team. But what you have is two camps. You have these older guys with families that really don't have much incentive to integrate with 21, 22. Like, what are they going to talk to Moses Moody about, Wiseman about? And then the punch was like the schism that just separated the two even more. So there was probably distance, and the punch just cut it right down the middle. And if you think about on road trips, you're not there with family. You're with a team. Home games, you're with family. It doesn't matter. Thoughts?
I mean, it's valid. There's got to be something. Right. And I could also see, Moses Moody and Jordan Poole and some of these guys maybe, going to the club where Steph and some of these other guys are like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? We're not going out, like when we're on the road, it's, all right, well, we flew into Miami, this part of the team is going to be doing this. And the other part of the team is going to be, watching game film and turning in early. I could see that. I could definitely see that team has always been known as a cohesive unit. You referred to them once in an episode, several hundred episodes ago, as like the 300, the Spartans, right? That they were better even when they were even against outnumbered or a more talented opponent because they worked together. It's like the phalanx, I think they call it, right? Where there's no weakness because they all move together, and that is not this year. I don't think you would describe the team that way this year. So who the hell knows?
It's cool that we have the library of our content, right? Like sort of having the recall of like the stuff we talked about and if it came true or not.
Think of how much soda I have consumed in 945 episodes. I mean, that alone is a scary thought, right? I mean,
you guys ever see like they put like organs in soda and then it like dissolves? I always have such respect for Cage and his health. Like he fuel like a champion.
Look at the smile.
That's all that matters.
And Luke Nation, I'm working on something for Mint. I put it in the Discord, but send me some messages. Let me know if you're a listener, a Tiger holder, somebody who's going to be at Mint. I want to know how many cigars I got to bring.
With nearly 40 years as the most trusted resource for collectors, dating back to the first Beckett magazine in 1984, Beckett has been the brand that bridges generations of the hobby. We're happy to be partnering with Beckett and look forward to keeping you all updated on the big things happening at the company in 2023. Beckett. It's the name you know and the name you can trust.